Called to order the meeting, regular meeting of Wednesday, September 11th, 2019, 7 o'clock, East Lyme Board of Finance. First item, pledge allegiance, if you could all rise. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Delegations. Delegations is an opportunity for anybody in town that would like to speak about anything that's on our agenda tonight. Anybody that would like to speak about anything on our agenda, please come. Delegations, no delegations. Okay. Moving on to minutes. Regular meeting minutes of August 14th. Has everybody reviewed, familiarized themselves with the August 14th meeting minutes? Any questions, clarifications, or amendments to? Okay. Hearing none, do I hear a motion to accept the meeting minutes as presented?
Yes, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Finance, Wednesday, August 14th, 2019.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further conversations about the meeting minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained?
Aye.
You're abstained?
Absent.
Absent, abstain. So move 3-1-0. Thank you. Reports, Board of Education.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? So a couple things. On behalf of the Board of Ed, we would like to once again invite you all to our budget building workshops starting on or around October, November. And we would love it if you guys would like to come to our Board of Ed meeting so you can hear our discussions on our budget building. With that in mind, we, as you'll remember, last year we came to you and we asked you, please, please, please don't cut our budget. And we begged you not to cut our budget, and we said how detrimental to our livelihood and our budget and our children the cut would be. Well, 3 weeks into school and we're feeling the cut. We are short buses. We are short teachers. We are having lots of difficulty. We have overcrowded classrooms in our kindergarten class because we're short teachers and we can't afford to hire more teachers. So we would just like you to know that we are feeling the cut that you gave us last year with our budget this year. So we would love it if you could attend our budget meeting so you actually know what goes into our budget building process. Thank you. And I don't know if you have any questions for me, but Jeff is also here.
I would ask if you could publish when those meeting dates are far enough in advance, because I know last year it was very short notice and I couldn't get out in time.
Okay.
But I would like to be part of, at least let you see our perspective as much as you think we don't see your perspective. I think it's important for you to see our perspective
Yes.
as well.
We know that, but we'd also like it if you could attend some of those so you could actually see what goes into our building of our budgets.
Yes.
Yeah, Bill, you're reading my mind. I just actually made a note. We'll get it out as quick. I know it was,
Because
we
I
talked
would-
about that last year.
I would like to help you in your decision-making process, because as we said during the budget season last year, in my humble opinion, in our humble opinion, there was other areas to cut other than the areas that you did. And that's just kind of, I think, forewarned is helpful. If you had targets to budget around, maybe you'd be able to do a more comprehensive kind of scrubbing. And if you were given a target of growth equal to some value, that might help.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, we tried, we heard loud and clear about the buses and a lot of back and forth about, we see buses riding around town that look half empty. So we cut 2 buses, as Jamie just mentioned. We've had nothing but major issues all year long so far. This town, the way that it's structured in length, we have kids way up by Montville as well as Salem. It's not working. So I've had to move times around. I've actually had to add part of a bus back in for a run as well, which obviously we don't have the money for. But it's just not working. I'll probably have to potentially add more in as we work through these issues. And also, Jamie's spot on with the kindergarten. We've got class sizes at Flanders Schools of 23 in a class, smaller rooms. The construction has gone on. They now have bathrooms in those rooms for kindergartners, so they're even smaller. So major issue there. So we're working through that. But
Could you repeat what you just said? I'm sorry about bathrooms. I didn't fully get it.
kindergarten classrooms, they have bathrooms, and small bathrooms in the corner. A room that's in the corner, all kindergarten rooms. So that takes up some of the space, in those classrooms.
They didn't have them before?
Nope, we did not. Not in those rooms, but every other, and all the other Haynes especially, they had them. Nyack Center now has them, but Flanders has the smallest rooms across the 3 schools.
So we did plan out a space assessment
We did.
first, right?
Yeah, we did. It was
So
all
what
it was all
happened
planned
then?
out. But what happens? We have 23 kids in the class, and that's way above our guidelines. The Board of Ed guidelines don't go any higher than 18, and we have 23 right now at Haynes, and we are sitting at 20 at 20, and 20 at Flanders. Actually 21. So we're dealing with that issue, but we're starting off the year in a deficit with bus, as well as having to bring forth some teacher support, it looks like, and some paraprofessional support to get through this. So hopefully we can work together. As we said, Bill, I'm looking forward to that, and have a collaborative process as we move through the budget season. Okay. And that's projects, just quick on the school projects as well. Ribbon cutting ceremonies are happening next week. Hopefully everybody got an invitation. I believe you did. Monday night is Nyack Center, 5 o'clock. Tuesday night is Flanders School, 5 o'clock. And Thursday night.
Did I get one?
No.
Yeah, I got. Did you get?
Everybody should receive one.
Did you get an invitation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did
Yes,
you get it?
I
Okay.
did. Yes.
Well, maybe it was something I said.
Not at all. You're on the Board of Finance.
Not unlikely.
No, Lisa, you were on the list.
All
I know
right.
you were. I apologize, but
I think
you
I
should have
might have
gotten
sent
it.
it
They
to
went out
you.
to all members of Board of
Yeah.
All right.
Finance, Board of Selectmen. But Monday night, 5 o'clock at Nyack Center. Tuesday night, 5 o'clock at Flanders. And then Thursday, 5 o'clock at 4:45, I'm sorry, at Lily B. Haynes, because we have a building committee meeting at Lily B. Haynes that evening as well. At
That's
6 o'clock.
Wednesday?
So that's Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday are when those are occurring. And a small ceremony out in front of the buildings, ribbon cutting, and then touring. So we're just going to open the buildings for folks to tour. And,
Is the public invited to tour the schools?
yeah, anybody who shows up is invited to tour the schools, yes. For safety and security reasons, it's not something we put in the paper and broadly publicized. So, but word of mouth, and everyone that was involved in the process, and boards, we've invited. So hopefully folks will show up. We will have some police presence, hopefully, as well as one of our security officers as well. So we're looking forward to it. It's been a long journey with the schools, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So thanks.
Any questions for Board of Ed?
So I do want to echo Bill's comment about the budget last year. We did recommend other areas for cutting, for looking at, for the proposed increase. So I'm going to support his comment on that. We didn't suggest cutting middle school sports or whatever else. So I think we need to be clear that there are some areas that we recommend, there's some areas that you may choose to cut, but we don't decide where the cut goes.
No, we appreciate the recommendations, and that's our job to
Yes.
to make sure we're.
Right.
But with
No,
a
that's-
limited budget, we have tough decisions to make, as we found out.
As do we.
Yeah.
My only point was, as we had that conversation then, and as I'd have the conversation in the future, it seems like all the cuts that you put in place were directly touching the students, as opposed to the administrative costs and some of the other costs that don't directly touch the students.
Understand, but in our opinion, in our professional opinion, that those are areas that, due to the nature of the work and the jobs that are occurring for us, we can't. You can't cut those areas.
Then,
So, and there's where we'll agree to disagree, but there's where we can work together to try and clarify our rationale and your rationale.
and that's where your vote is final. And we can give a budget amount, we can't tell where it's spent. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Any other questions?
Well, actually, comment and question maybe, Jeff, on the budget building workshops and meetings. So I think that's something that we look forward to again. And, you know, maybe we can find ways to make it even more productive than last year. I don't think the result of what happened last year budget-wise necessarily reflects what, you know, those of us that did attend, Lisa, myself, and John Birmingham, that, you know, what we learned from that and what we gleaned from it. So the two may be in parallel universes for whatever reason, but that's okay. But we as a board have discussed that before this board changes again, before election, that we actually would like to just review the process generally, not just for Board of Education. So I think that's something we're looking forward to, just sharing some comments amongst each other as to, you know, the top 3 problems or ways we can address some issues that have come up. So
Sure.
I think that's all positive. That's you know, just want to reflect on that. And then I just had a thought when you mentioned the budget, the bus cutting, just in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, the budget, the cut of the 2 buses happened before.
Before the 250,
Right.
based off of many recommendations
Yes.
and comments that
So,
we were trying to listen to
So I
what you were
really,
saying.
I really think it's, you know, to be fair about it or proper about it, so to speak, you know, that did happen before we even touched your budget. So that was your decision,
Yes.
you know, as a Board of
Kind
Education.
Trying to hear what you were
Right,
saying
and trying
us.
to cut and make the cuts.
Yeah.
For whether you've had an influx, and I assume that's what's happened, and that was my other question. Has there been an influx this summer with, you know, you didn't expect that the numbers would be, you know, 23 at Haynes or 21 at Flanders, so.
We did not. Over 20
Okay.
new elementary students came in
Okay.
this summer. So we weren't expecting the K numbers to be as high as they are.
So that's greater than the average that usually
Yes.
happens?
Yep.
Okay.
And you never know, but we always try and base it
Yeah.
off of what our first grade numbers were.
Yeah.
So now all of our first grade classes are smaller than what our.
So I think it's so
classes are.
important not to assign blame, because
No,
and you're not, I'm just saying I received a little message today from a friend who is active on social media, I am not, and who told me
Nor am I.
for obvious reasons, so, and told me what's the buzz is, and I thought, that's just not accurate, and, you know, you weren't expecting what was expected. You cut budget, you cut your buses before in an effort to rein in expenses. So it's very unfortunate that this happens, but it's good to know that it's out there and that we can give information that clarifies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but I do look forward to working again with you all. So,
Absolutely.
Okay.
So Ann, if I may, to add on to your conversation about your comments about the budget workshops, it would be good, I think, for those if we identified what we're looking for from the Board of Finance, because last year we really were sort of passive participants, right?
Yes, I would say. We were just kind of watching and observing. Occasionally we made comments, and you know, in truth, the 2 boards, your board, Board of Education and Board of Finance, need to work separately.
Mm-hmm.
We can obviously collaborate, but in terms of our overview and oversight, that has to be an independent kind of action, if you will. So, so there's that sort of not clear, you know, role that we necessarily can take on, but you know, we can give more general advice and be observant, but I'm not, in terms of getting into the weeds on the budget document, that has to happen obviously at the later point in the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clearly, the
Yeah.
intent from my perspective was to bring you into the fold, to have you hear, you know, and see our
Right.
process,
Yeah.
and to better understand some of the
Right.
rationales and reasons why the Board of Ed and administration were deciding on
But
things
what
that
I-
might be in or might be out.
But what I keep hearing for the last year is that you guys want us to better understand your process.
Mhm.
And what I keep saying is I need you guys to also better understand our process. This needs to be a two-way communications. It needs to be that we all understand the challenges that we're under. It can't be just a one-sided communications. And it felt to me like the feedback I got from the people who attended meetings last year it was a one-sided communication. So I just encourage everybody to listen as much as they talk.
Yeah, well, I think we definitely need to talk ahead of time,
Yeah.
and, for us to understand your process. I'd love clarity on that, what is it that you
Right.
specifically mean by that?
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
Clearly a lot of passion around this. Clearly a lot of people
Clearly.
motivated to try to work through these kind of bugs.
Agreed.
And we will do that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jen.
First Selectman report. Kevin, you got anything for?
Real quick. Just to bring up on some things, you all heard or read about the fox attack over the last couple of days. Fortunately, it was quickly addressed. The people that were involved were gotten medical attention, and obviously, we don't have any information on them as rightly we shouldn't have. But if you saw the ACO speaking, we are very fortunate to have him. He was a police officer in Waterford for years, where he also doubled as a sworn ACO. So he retired. Now he's working, in Waterford, and came back working for us. He's working with DEEP to address this as well as he can. Of course, now even if they found the fox, there's no way it's the exact one. So obviously you have to take precautions. Construction update. We did publish that only one lane would be closed at a time of the 4. Costco there was a DOT meeting, a small one, Monday. Now they may take one lane in each direction on a case-by-case basis. A little bit yesterday, a little bit today. It'll only be done for a very brief period and not at any time to inflict when school buses are going by or students are going to and from school. And there's a police officer there. If it looks like it's getting too backed up, can shut down the side that has to be shut down. So construction will still be ongoing there. I haven't heard nearly the complaints about backups. Occasionally, yesterday they were stringing a wire across the road. That's going to cause a little bit of a backup, but outside of that, I haven't heard any major concerns. On some other good things, Children's Museum Gala is Friday night at the Rocky Neck Pavilion. Raise money for the Children's Museum, which is a wonderful resource we have in town. Also, that's at 6. And also, Friday night at 6 is Jeffrey's Rainbow Run at McCook's. It's a 5K. Raise money for Jeffrey Burgess Scholarship Fund, which the Youth Services awards a couple of those, 2 or 3 every year. So if anybody would like to, it's supposed to be beautiful done Friday, so if you want to come out and get a quick 5K run in, come on out. And then finally, for this Board of Ed, but this weekend, also Friday night at 6:30, the high school football season opens their season. Soccer, field hockey, volleyball, they all start their seasons as well coming up. Later this month, First Selectman is going to convene the Traffic Advisory Council to see if we can find ways to help make people aware of what they can do to take control of the speed in their own neighborhoods and so forth like that. It's a national problem, doing that for 28 and a half years. I assure you, I never had trouble finding someone breaking the law when I was in a cruiser and stuff like that. So take care of it that way. And then finally, October 12th will be the Oyster Festival behind St. John's in the field back there to benefit the Miracle League. Last year it was a admittance fee. This year is not. Just please come, and the only cost would be is if you want to buy tickets for food and so forth like that. So that's October 12th. So that's pretty much it for what's going on. And if you have any questions, I can try and answer them.
So as far as the wildlife is concerned, there has been a lot of conversations about it between the bobcats in town and the coyotes, and I have bobcat that I was from me to you away from me in my backyard.
Yeah.
I got coyotes that were from here to the door away from me. Is there any conversation about, other than just educating people about what
That's
to
all
do?
you're trying to do, because you have to be very careful too, because these are all protected species too. Obviously, if you feel threatened, you're able to defend yourself.
I
But
can't defend myself against them guys.
well, not unless you've got, unless you know they're going to be out here. No, but here again, especially during the daytime, if it's at night, that's when you're liable to see, especially in the wee hours of the morning. In fact, most of us, I know last night I heard coyotes outside, and I've heard bobcats as well. If you see them during the day, get as much distance as you can and notify the 911 dispatch right away if you see a wild animal out during the day, because they're not normally out there. You may see a fox crossing the road, but if it's coming around, and you can see by their mannerisms, they just don't look right. So always err on the side of caution. That's what I used to tell people.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Thanks.
Director of Finance.
Good evening. So in your packets, I had included a draft expenditure report and revenue report. So this evening, in terms of the expenditure report, I put updates only for the pages that changed. So the two departments where there were changes were Public Works, and the reason for that is because of the way that we handle charging the gasoline. When the bills are due, we pay them, and then we, because we get reports from Public Works, they have a fuel management system, so we have to wait until the end of the month to get that report, so then we can allocate the charges by department. And then the other one, the Board of Education did not get their August activity posted before I produced the reports for you last week. So these are the pages that changed. The last page is where, the budget, total expended, remaining balances. And then in terms of the expenditures, unfortunately, I provided you with an updated draft because the tax office still has not provided us with all of the documentation to post on our side. There's a little, well, close to 400,000 left that we need to post. So with that said, if you have any questions on anything that you've seen in the reports, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Does anybody have questions about the financial reports we have?
Do you have any areas of concern?
Well, the one area that I am concerned about right now is with regards to the pension budget, which is in Department 114. Every year we have an actuarial evaluation done on our plan, and for the valuation that was done with as of the date of January 1st of this year, I just received a draft of it the other day. The pension committee is meeting tomorrow to review it with the actuary. And for this year's valuation, there was a change in the mortality tables that are used to do the calculations. And so when I looked at the town's responsibilities, they're higher than what we planned for in the budget. So at this point, until after the pension committee meets, I'm not going to know for sure how it's going to, flesh out. However, I just thought I would bring it to your attention this evening.
Significantly higher, or?
Yeah.
It's when I looked at it, I think it was about 95,000 more than budgeted. So that's a
chunk.
That's a chunk. So and
We'll have to take that out of the Board of Ed budget.
well, they're going to have their own struggles because they also make a part of that contribution. I didn't have a chance to discuss it yet with Mariana, and then the other departments that make contributions as well are water and sewer and the library. So I'm going to have to touch base with them as well. But as I said, I just did receive the report. So.
Any concerns on any overtime that's looking out of whack, that's not following past trends?
So, I to be honest with you, I really start looking at that after the first 3 months of the year.
Fiscal year.
Yeah. So we're, just in the second month at this time. I look at both that and the, on the revenue side as well. I also wanted to mention to you that in terms of our health insurance and the incurred but not reported claims, in July we had $625,504 worth of claims. August, the claims were $76,246. So, our big month, which we expected would be July, and we're very pleased that they seem to have trended off. So far to date, they have not, no draw has been made on our account. So what that means is if there have been any additional claims to date, the total has been less than 20,000. They only draw on our account when it hits 20,000. So I think we're getting to the end of it. So far we have, let's say, 702,000, and the projected amount was 891,000.
You said how much for the month of August?
76,246.
This is 46, 49.
Do I have the wrong sheet?
Oh, okay, so I did include it. So that's because we had claims on the 28th and on the 30th.
Okay. I don't think I had that sheet.
I don't think I have that sheet either.
You just made it up.
It was in the green folder, I think, Ann.
Yeah, but I'm not still finding.
Oh, you know what? That's probably from maybe another meeting, because yours has older items. That wasn't something,
All right.
no?
No, I mean, I just had my packet. It's
Okay.
either in the folder or in the packet you
Okay,
gave me.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, I didn't put
I
that in the
can't
folder.
explain it.
So,
Neither can I. It could have been a loose piece of paper on my desk. I don't know. I'm sorry.
so the 79's compared to what target? What did you
So,
think?
so the total we've had to date is $701,750, and what the estimate that I projected based on our, previous experience was $891,465. So right now, I'm happy to say that our IBNR to date is less than what we projected.
Okay.
That's good news.
So, and then the other thing that I will also mention is that, so for the Board of Education actually at the end of last fiscal year had $217,000 remaining budget dollars to apply towards, their portion of, the claims that we had previously talked about, the shortfall. So that's, a little bit more than, they were originally projecting once everything fleshed out for the end of the fiscal year. And the other thing that I wanted to bring to the board's attention tonight is that right now, the building management system for our heating and cooling is like limping along. We had a faulty controller, and the system is so old that there are no replacement parts anymore. So with that said, we had an HVAC engineer come in and do an analysis of our system, because if we're going to replace something that is a large dollar item, we want to make sure that we do it properly. And we've received 3 bids for it, and we're going to need to go through the appropriations process for this, so it's going to be forthcoming next, at the next series of meetings. And, we're also running up against the heating season, because, apparently, as I understand it, they're going to have to take the system down when they're actually putting this new system in. So it's going to be a challenge for us. This is something that I don't remember if the board remembers, Mr. Bergois had provided you with a building maintenance plan going out several years, which is like a subsidiary of the capital improvement plan. And this item was identified on it for next fiscal year. It's just not going to make it to next fiscal year. So we have some old LoCIP projects that once we close them out, we'll have sufficient funds to be able to move forward with this project. So that's going to be all part of what we'll bring forward to you at the next meetings. But we just kind of wanted to give you a heads up. It's unfortunate that as we went through this process, we received the information like last Friday at the end of the week. So we weren't able to get it to go through the Board of Selectmen before coming here. So I'm just kind of briefing you on the sad news that we have on this. And we've actually, the way the system is operating right now, it's kind of like on a bypass mode, meaning we have no control over what it does. We have to have it at a certain level so that it keeps the humidity out of the building, to make the air quality, decent for everybody. So that's our...
Would you repeat the estimated cost of that piece?
So we had 3 bids. One of them was, the high one was 40, just under 50,000, and the low one, I believe, is 43,000.
Okay.
So anyway, so just kind of like I said, wanted to bring it to your attention. So that's it. And then there's one other item I wanted to bring